Hello everyone, welcome back to the new episode of my tutorial series on software development. In the previous episode, we have successfully created business logic layer for our product module which contains getter and setters. And in this episode, we will create data access layer for our product module which will contain methods to insert, update and delete products in our database. So without further delay, let's move to our tutorial series. First of all, we'll need to open our project. For that, I'll go to my project folder, that is AnyStore, and let's open our project solution, that is AnyStore.solution, by double clicking on it, and it will open on Visual Studio IDE. So this is our product form. Now we need to go to the solution explorer and let's go to DAL folder, expand it, and just right click on DAL folder and click on add and click on new item, and then select class and give the name. It will be PRODUCTX products DAL, and click on enter, click on add or press enter. So this will be our products DAL. Now what we need to do is create a static string method for database connection. So creating static string method for DB connection. Now static string my and connection string is equals to configuration manager dot connection strings, then passing the connection string, it will be CONNSTRNG, which is created in app.config file, and then the last is CONNECTIN connection string. So that's it. Now we have an error in configuration manager, so just hover over the error and click on show potential fixes and using system.configuration. So we fixed our error. Now we have error here. I think we missed something. We do not need parentheses, so I'll just delete it. So this is it, guys. Now we need to create our first method, that is select method for our product module. So I'll create a region for that. Region method, select method for product module. So in region, and this method will be of data table data type. So public data table select and then curly braces. So we have two errors, so I'll just hover over the data table and click on show potential fixes using system.data, and another error is select. This is because this data table method requires data table to be returned. So first of all, we will create SQL connection to connect database. So create SQL connection to connect database. So SQL connection con is equals to new SQL connection using my connection string we created earlier. So hover over the error and click on show potential fixes and using system.data.sql client. Now we need to create data table to hold the data from database. So data table dt is equals to new data table, and we need to return it. So return dt. So our error is fixed, but between this we have to write the code to select all the data from database. So I'll start with try block and then catch exception ex. Here we will display any message if we have any exceptional error. So message box dot show ex dot message. Now we need to hover over the error and click on show potential fixes using system.windows. That then finally, so here we will close the database connection. So connection dot close. Now we need to write the query to select the products from database. So writing the query to select all the products from database. For this we will create a string variable, string SQL is equals to select asterisk from TBL underscore products. Now we need to execute this query. We will create a SQL command to execute this query. To execute query, so SQL command cmd is equals to new SQL command using SQL and con. Then we need to create SQL data adapter to hold the value from database temporarily. So SQL data adapter adapter is equals to new SQL data adapter using cmd. So we have to open the database connection now. Connection dot open, and at last we need to pass the value from adapter to dt. So adapter dot fill dt. So this is it, guys. We have successfully created a method to select all the products from database. So next method is to insert data or products into database. Let's create the insert method for our product module. So I'll create region method to insert product in database and has end region. It will be of boolean type method. So public bool insert, and we need to pass products BLLP and hover over the products BLL and click on show potential fixes using anystore.bll, and we will still have an error on insert because this boolean type method requires a boolean variable to be returned. So creating boolean variable and set its default value to false. So bool is equals to false, and let's return it. Return is success. So between these we'll write the actual code to insert the data into database. So first, connecting database, SQL connection for database, SQL connection con is equals to new SQL connection using my connection string and try, and then catch exception ex and displaying the message if we have any exceptional errors. So message box dot show ex dot message. So last one is finally, where we will close the database connection. So connection dot close. Now we need to write the SQL query in try block to insert the data in database. Query to insert product into database. For this, string SQL is equals to insert into TBL underscore products, and we'll write the column name. Let's check out in Server Explorer and expand the database and expand tables. So we have table products here: ID, name, category, description, rate, quantity, added date, and added by. We don't need to pass ID since it is an auto generated. So we'll start with name, category, description, name, category, description, then rate, quantity, rate, and then QTY, and added date and added by. So I think this is it: QTY, quantity, added date, and added by. So let's copy all this between parentheses. So Ctrl C to copy, and after that ends, type values and paste it here. Now before each one of these, after values, we need to add the rate. So add the rate and 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 add the rate. Now we need to pass the values on this add the rate variables. For that, we'll need to create a SQL command. So SQL command to pass the values. So SQL command cmd is equals to new SQL command using SQL and database connection. So passing the values through parameters. So cmd dot parameters dot add with value, and the first one is add the rate name and p dot name, and the second one is cmd dot parameters dot add with value, and then add the rate category, and it will be p dot category. Another one is cmd dot parameters dot add with value, and then add the rate description p dot description, and then cmd dot parameters dot add with value. Here add the rate and p dot rate. Another one is cmd dot parameters dot add with value, add the rate quantity and p dot qty, and another one is cmd dot parameters dot add with value, and add the rate added date and p dot added date, and the last one is cmd dot parameters dot add with value and add the rate added underscore by, and it will be p dot added underscore by. So this is it. Now we need to open the database connection. So opening the database connection dot open. Now we need to create a integer type variable to execute the query. So int rows is equals to cmd dot execute non-query, and we need to pass here is, we don't need to pass anything, so this is it. No, execute non-query, so this is it. So if the query is executed successfully, then the value of row will be greater than 0, else the value of row will be less than 0. So if the query is executed then the value of will be greater than 0, else it will be less than 0. So let's check it out. If rows is greater than 0, then executed successfully, else failed to execute query. Now if the query is executed successfully, then the value of each success will be true, else the value of each success will be false. So this is, guys, we have successfully created a method to insert products in our database, and the next method is to update the product in our database. So let's minimize this and save it to by pressing Ctrl and S. Now we will create next method to update the products in database. So I'll start with creating a region. So has region method to update product in database, and has in region, and it will be a boolean type. So public bool update, and we need to pass products BLLP, and then we have an error here, but don't worry about this. We will solve it by creating a boolean variable and returning it. So create a variable and set its initial value to false. So bool is success is equals to false, and we'll return it, and return is success, and between these we'll write the query to update the data in database. So first step is to create the SQL connection. So for database, so SQL connection con is equals to new SQL connection using my connection string, and then we'll start with try block, and then catch. Here we'll write message, that is what we need, parenthesis, then exception ex, then message box dot show ex dot message. So if we have any exceptional errors, this should display the message. And last one is finally. So here we will close the database connection. So connection dot close. Now in try block, first step is to write the SQL query to update the data in database. So SQL query to update data in database. For this we'll create a string variable SQL is equals to update tbl underscore product set. Then we'll start with name is equals to @name, and category is equals to @category, and then description is equals to description, description description, and another one is name category description. Let's check out the server explorer. Name category description and rate, quantity, and added date. Rate, quantity, and added date. So rate is goes to rate, and quantity is goes to quantity, and then rate, quantity. Let's see, rate, quantity, and then added date and added by. So added underscore date is goes to added underscore date, and last one is added underscore by is goes to added underscore by. And at last we need to add the where keyword, where id equals to @id. So this is, guys, this is the query. Here I missed set update trivial products. So this is the query to update the products in database. So this, which is update trivial underscore products, set name equals to @name, category is equals to @category, description is equals to @description, rate is equals to @rate, quantity is equals to @quantity, added date is equals to added date, added by is equals to added by, where id equals to @id. So now we need to create SQL command to pass the value to query. So SQL command cmd is equals to new SQL command using SQL and database connection. Now passing the values using parameters and cmd. So cmd dot parameters dot add with value @name, here p dot name, and cmd dot parameters dot add with value @category, p dot category, and then cmd dot parameters dot add with value description p dot description, and parameters dot add with value rate, and p dot rate, then quantity, cmd dot parameters dot add with value, and qty, and p dot qty, and cmd dot parameters dot add with value, then added underscore date, p dot added date, and then cmd dot parameters dot add with value added underscore by, and p dot added by. And in the case of update, we need to pass id too. So cmd dot parameters dot add with value and id p dot id. So this is it, I missed here. So so this is it. Now we need to open the database connection. Open the database connection. So connection dot open. Now we need to create a integer type variable to check whether the query is executed successfully or not. Create integer variable to check if the query is executed fully or not. So int rows is equals to cmd dot execute non-query. So if the query is executed successfully, then the value of rows will be greater than 0, else the value will be less than 0. So if the query is executed, then the value of rows will be greater than 0, else it will be less than 0. So let's check it out. If rows is greater than 0, then query successfully, else fail to execute query. So when the query is executed successfully, we need to change the value of is success is equals to true, else the value of is success remains false. So this is it, guys. We have successfully created a method to update products in our database. Now we need to create another method to delete the product from our database. So let's create it. Let's create another region method to delete product from database, and in region, so we'll create a boolean type method. It will be public bool delete, and we need to pass products bllp, and we will create boolean variable and set its default value to false. So bool is success is equals to false, and then we'll return it success. So we remove the error. Now we need to create a SQL connection for DB connection. So SQL connection con is equals to new SQL connection using my connection string, and we'll write the query after that. For that, we'll start with try block, try, and then catch. Here we'll write exception ex, then display the message if we have any exceptional errors. Message box dot show ex dot message, and finally we'll close the connection to our database. So connection dot close. Now we will go to the try block and write a query to delete product from database. So string SQL is equals to delete from tbl underscore products, where id is equals to @id. Now we need to create SQL command to pass the value to value. So SQL command cmd is equals to new SQL command using SQL and con. Now we need to pass the value using using cmd. So in this query we only need to pass @id, so it will be a single value. So cmd dot parameters dot add with value and @id p dot id. So this is it. Now we need to open the database connection. So connection dot open, and after that we need to create an integer variable to check if the query is executed successfully or not. So integer rows is equals to cmd dot execute non-query. So this is it. So if the query is executed successfully, then the value of rows will be greater than 0, else the value of rows will be less than 0. So if the query is executed successfully, then the value of rows will be greater than 0, else it will be less than 0. Now let's check it out. If rows is greater than 0, then query executed successfully, else fail to execute query. Now if the query is executed successfully, then the value of is success will be true, else the value of is success will be false. So is success is equals to false. So this is it, guys. We have successfully created a method to delete the product from database 2. So this is it. We completed data access layer for our product module. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then don't forget to like, share on social networking site. If you want to see more videos like this, then don't forget to subscribe and click on bell icon. If you have any confusion related to this video, then don't forget to comment. I'll reply as soon as possible. So in the next video we will add actual functionality to add, update and delete on product module. So till then, see you soon. Bye bye.